I heard Donald Harrison talk about this one particular rhythm. It's called a bombada. It's a rhythm that comes from Africa, and it was played basically on the drum called a djembe drum. It's a hand drum. Now, the djembe drum in that particular rhythm was able to survive the transatlantic slave trade. Yet Africans brought to the New World, as it was called. Of course, we all know there was no New World because people were already here. In Americas, North, South, Central America, the Caribbean. The djembe rhythm, the bombada, was brought to Cuba. It was played not on the djembe. They started playing it on the congas. These two drums right here. They also had the bongos. They played the same rhythm on the bongos. This same rhythm was also played in Congo Square. I don't know how many of you know about the history of Congo Square, where slaves were allowed to congregate on Sundays and, just let loose and let off some steam for all the hard work they did during the course of their week. This particular rhythm was then brought over to the bass drum. Now, the bass drum is more American and European than it is African or Cuban or Afro-Cuban. And that same rhythm that I was playing on the bongos was played on the bass drum. That rhythm is used throughout all New Orleans music. If you were to hear a modern-day brass band, you could hear that same bombada rhythm played by the bass drummers. Now, the snare drummers are doing something a little different, but those guys, too, are kind of like using that rhythm. And as I said, we don't think about playing rhythms, but that's kind of like the basis of what you hear in the modern brass bands. Now, a lot of brass band drummers have expanded on that rhythm. And what I mean by expanded is, instead of just playing that, they'll take that same rhythm and syncopate it. Or like I do with myself and Derrick when we're playing, if he's playing something, I'm going to play that particular rhythm, but I'm going to leave enough space in that rhythm so that he could have a place to play. And we're going to try to demonstrate what I mean right now about, creating spaces in the rhythm so that whenever we're playing, we have to make sure that we're playing with each other, not against each other. I don't know how many of you are drummers out there or aspiring drummers, but one of the most important things for drummers, I think, is to have space, because you want to have space not only for the snare drum, but also for the sousaphone and the tuba, as well as for the horn players or guitar players who are playing with you. So right now we're going to try to demonstrate what I mean by space. We're just going to play a basic rhythm, and I'm going to leave enough space in there so that he can play enough so that it can come together as one. Because I believe our ideal situation is to sound like a drum set. And if you ever heard Rebirth, when we're playing, if you don't see the two guys back there, you think it's a drum set. And if you think it's a drum set, then we're actually doing our job. So let's just give them a basic rhythm.